Welcome to day 15, and you are talking with the Meeples Champion. You know, I've been trying to get a little bit more on the trend of these smaller games for the last couple days, and I want to bring in another one that was a huge find for me, actually, during COVID. It was a game I had first seen when I was on a trip with my wife over to Europe. I believe I was in France, and it caught my eye, but I didn't really know anything about the game. And then, thankfully, it was another one of those board game arena games that when they started picking up more and more titles, this one came in. This particular game is Oriflamme. Now, Oriflamme is fantastic in the respect that it's not a lot to it. You are dealing with a deck of 10 cards. You can play up to 5 people, and you shuffle up your cards, you get 7. So you don't know for each person what 7 they've gotten. When you place the cards on the board, you're going to place them out face down. And you're going to go first. The next person then chooses. Do they want to go to your left or to your right? And the next person chooses. And they get to go to the left or the right. But of the pile, they can't go in between people. You keep doing this. Once everybody's placed, then starting with the person all the way to the left, they get the option. Do you want to leave it face down, at which point you will put 1 coin on it? Or do you want to flip it over and activate its ability? Now, the reason that you put coins on it is, these are really victory points, and every time that you put an extra one on there, when you finally decide to flip the card, you gather those victory points. It's a very simple way to just get the victory points. People can all see what you're doing. However, there are other ways to get the cards to give you points. One, of course, would be killing a card. So say I flipped over this one. Now, this one is Conspiracy. Now, this particular card is extremely powerful because every victory point that's on it, every coin, doubles. So if you get this out turn 1 and you flip it over the last turn, which is turn 6, you're going to get 12 victory points off this instead of 6. Now, most people are going to see this coming a mile away. We all want to do the Conspiracy flip. So that's where people are going to be like, oh, that guy hasn't flipped this in 2 or 3 turns. Maybe I should kill that. However, that could be a mistake because another thing that people love to do is use ambush. So instead, when ambush flips over, they get only, no matter how many coins are on it, they only get 1 coin. However, if they get destroyed, whoever attacks them dies, and you gain 4 coins for this. So you could end up getting a 4 coin increase, and somebody might kill you with their soldier, which is one of the most powerful, just I can kill the thing right next to me every turn. And now the soldier's gone. Now, this particular card, it's giving you the 4 coins by doing that. Normally what you do is that by killing something, you get a coin. So this was just giving you a bigger payout. Now, you also have other cards like the Lord. He earns you 1 + 1 for every card of his color that is touching him. So you have to make sure they're next to each other on the board. That's a repetitive every turn thing. You have something like the Spy. When you have her revealed, every time that you get to her, she steals 1 coin from one of the 2 cards neighboring her. So if she's between a green and a blue, you get to pick one of them and take a coin from them. Their experience point becomes your experience point. You have the Heir. If he is the only one of his name on the board face up, you get 2 victory points. Now, you may be the first one to flip a card, you get 2 victory points, and then somebody else might flip the Heir down here. They're not going to get any because yours exists, but they don't take your 2 coins either. You earned them because at the time of the flip, you only had the 2. There are a lot of different options mixed into this game. It's a fun game because it allows you to have very limited cards, and yet so much you can do with them. Now, one of the fun things is that you could put out your ambush, for instance, and you're trying to trick somebody into taking it. So instead what you do is the next time you put out, instead of putting left or right, your only other option is, whether they're face up or face down, you could put a card on top of it. That now protects the card. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can't use the card below. It is basically blocked out. You can't flip it and use its ability. You're not going to be able to access the coins that are on it because those coins have been covered. But now an opponent might see this and go, what are they protecting down there? And they might decide to kill your top card to then get to your next card. It's an opportunity. So that's another piece that you can do. There's going to be a lot of back and forth, and it's really about knowing your opponents. I find this game to be, with such limited cards, it's really a psychological game of knowing the people you're playing with. What did they like to do? And then getting to the point where you go, okay, well, this is what they normally do, so this is what I'll do. And then realizing, well, now they know what you do to what they normally do, so they turn around what they normally... It gets so back and forth. If you can get the same group of 5 people to play this game repetitively, you know, hey, you're doing a board game night, pull this game out. Just once a night, every week. You're always playing a big game, but this is your small game. And all of a sudden, in a few months, this game is going to get next level. Everybody's going to know what everybody does, and everybody's going to be differently trying to attack the game, and it starts getting weird in a fun way. I think any game like this, where you have limited resources and people are really trying to judge the person and not the game, has that opportunity. It's all about your game group. It's not that expensive. It's only about $30, I think. And it's not hard to find. It's definitely online. You definitely can find it at most game stores. I think it is available at Barnes & Noble. I don't think Target holds this. But it's a really, I mean, cards are really good quality. The game is, I think, extremely unique. I haven't seen a game that presents it quite like this. Yes, the psychological part isn't. There's a lot of those. But the way that it's actually set up on the board, I hadn't seen a game like this. I think that this is just a total thumbs up across the board for everything. And I really would recommend everybody should give it a try. And if you do, and it just so happens not to hit for you, don't be afraid to put it to the side and say, let me try it again with a different group. Maybe you just didn't have the right people. Not everybody's into this style game. And that is the trick to any gamer, is understanding, hey, do you have one game group? Do you have 2 game groups? Do you have friends who play occasionally? Do you have family that plays occasionally? You know, do you like to go to PAX East, PAX West? Do you like to go to PAX Unplugged? Do you like to go to any of these events where you can play? The more you have of options opens up the possibility of a game that may not have hit with you hitting somewhere else. And that's something you have to always be ready for. Don't be afraid to give a shot to a game that didn't work out, because it may have not worked out because you just didn't have the right group. Now, that's not to say that those people are a bad group. Every group has a different aspect. I used to love the game Bang, but my newer game group, it just did not land with. My friends and my family, it didn't land with. My old game group, it was a huge success for us. Everybody's different, and every group works together differently. And depending on the aspects that each person brings of their likes and dislikes, the group kind of amasses its particular overall likes and dislikes. My current group, all of us like worker placement. All of us like deck building. So those 2 aspects are a huge plus to every game that has something like that in it. But not all of us like these psychological games, so it's not a big one that gets chosen. Well, that's my personal opinion. I hope you guys liked it. This was, yet again, day 15. You've been talking with the Meeples champion. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a good one.